I'm going to start off with a little bit of a personal story about why I'm going to be discussing this topic in particular. So in high school, I had to switch schools around 3 times because the school campuses that I was at were actually inaccessible, and they were exempt from the ADA because they were historical sites. My first high school I had to leave because half of the campus was built in the 20s, so it was exempt from the ADA, which meant I could only make it to half of my classes safely. So that's pretty much why I'm really interested in the ADA, why I'm so fascinated by disability law and justice, because my high school experience was largely shaped by injustice. Hi, my name is Sueli, and I am here because of the ADA. What is the ADA, you may ask? Well, lucky for y'all, I'm here to explain exactly that. First, we will cover what the ADA is. Then, we will go over what the ADA looks like in action. And lastly, we will learn more about the ADA in history and in detail. After the speech, the audience will be able to understand what the ADA, Americans with Disabilities Act, is. First, the Americans with Disabilities Act, ADA, is an American civil rights law protecting folks with disabilities' rights to access. The ADA protects disabled folks from disability-based discrimination and exclusion in almost all areas of public and private life, including jobs, schools, and transportation. The ADA is similar to some other civil rights laws, although the first version of the bill was only introduced to the House and Senate in 1988. In summary, the ADA, Americans with Disabilities Act, is a civil rights law prohibiting disability-based discrimination. Now, what does the ADA look like in action? This ranges from door width, adjustable school tables, public transportation with ramps, and public restrooms with large stalls and grab bars, to name a few. The ADA has specific regulations for all of these and more, even the degree of an incline on a ramp. However, I'm sure most of you can think of a public place that was very clearly inaccessible. You might have gone up a very steep hill, seen a place that only had stairs, or even elevator buttons with no braille. This is because the ADA unfortunately has a long list of exemptions and loopholes, one of which exempts federal buildings. As in the writing of the ADA, the federal government exempt itself. This means that some courthouses where people with disabilities may literally be suing for inaccessibility may not even be able to make it onto the witness stand. In summary, the ADA has very specific regulations, some of which include harmful loopholes like historical sites being exempt. Lastly, while the ADA is not a historical event, it sure has history. President George H.W. Bush signed the ADA into law on July 26, 1990. This signing came after 1,000 protesters, most with mobility-limiting disabilities, traveled from 30 states to protest the act's delay. The disabled protesters abandoned their wheelchairs, crutches, and canes, crawling up 83 stone steps up to the U.S. Capitol building in a defiant act. This protest became known as the Capitol Crawl, pictured above. So up here, you'll see an image of folks with disabilities like myself crawling up the 83 stone steps up to the Capitol building, protesting the actual act's delay, because there was a lot of lobbying against it. And as the ADA forces a lot of public places and businesses to make changes, some of which can be expensive, so there was some hesitancy to put the bill into action, because that meant that businesses would have had, they would have to spend money. So obviously someone lobbied against it, because capitalism. But aside from that, there's a few more pictures. Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. To conclude, let's go over the 3 main ideas. First, we discussed what the ADA is, a civil rights law prohibiting disability-based discrimination. Then, we learned what the ADA looked like in action, from braille to bathroom stalls. Lastly, we went over the cool backstory the ADA has and when it was signed into law. Thank you for your time.